from Hallmark. A wish that all our families can be together this Christmas.
I want you to listen to this. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
Happy holidays from Blood and Black Rum Podcast. This Christmas, we're doing something slightly different. We're bringing you on an adventure through Hallmark Christmas movies, specifically those starring Lacey Chabert, in a series we're calling Chaberting Gifts. You can expect visits from Christmas past and present, trips through Rome, and a whole lot more. We hope you enjoy our very festive and slightly romantic approach to this year's Christmas season. And just remember, heavy petting is not allowed.
Goulet!
Hey guys, welcome back to Blood and Black Rum Podcast. I'm Ryan from CloseBetAsian.com, and I'm joined with my co-host Mark.
How's it going? Proper opening this time.
Yeah, did you see I didn't try to throw any wrenches in there?
No, we don't like that.
I could have said Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas to you, but go fuck yourselves. I don't care. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. We are here with the holidays, starting our holiday season, our Christmas episodes, as you will.
Festivus.
Yeah, we normally call it Festivus, and for the past 5 years, I think, something like that. We've been doing
longer than that. It's been probably like as long as this podcast has been going on.
We've been doing the Festivus series. This time around, though, we are changing things up a little bit. We're not going to just do straight up, like for Halloween, we did straight up Halloween movies, movies that took place around Halloween. For Christmas this year, we're not doing just movies that take place on and around Christmas time. We're specifically doing a very punctuated, detailed version of our Christmas episodes. And it does tie in with our previous episode, I think, was it 2 episodes ago, on Mean Girls, of course. Because Martin has a perpetual crush on Lacey Chabert.
Don't act like the rest of the world doesn't even.
So it's a very specific Christmas celebration this year.
You're just upset that Jennifer Love Hewitt at JLH hasn't branched off into the holiday sphere.
That's true. Yeah, I wish she did. I have to just suffer through seasons of Ghost Whisperer instead. So, this year we're bringing you what we're calling Chaberting Gifts, a nice audio pun on Lacey Chabert's name. And if you, I like I was saying, I was prefacing with Martin, I said, I think this might be lost on some people who are just looking real quick and they're like, what the fuck is this Chaberting Gifts? What is that? The hell does that mean? But I couldn't resist the pun. And, of course, for the holiday season, it just makes sense to do that pun. So we're doing Chaberting Gifts, and we are covering not all, I shouldn't say all. There's a few, of
wow, I was going to go with litany, and then you just undercut me on the words and yeah.
Yeah. There are a large number of Lacey Chabert Christmas movies for Hallmark.
Which we've already done one before.
What's that? What did we do?
Black Xmas.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Technically, we did do one. Yes, not a Hallmark style Lacey Chabert Christmas, but a Christmas movie nonetheless. No, this time they're going to be Hallmark movies, and we've never done any Hallmark Christmas movies for the show. I've certainly seen my share. Because they are things that you just throw on. You're just what's the Christmas thing on TV right now? Let's throw on Hallmark. When you're not paying attention to things, you just kind of throw it on in the background to be noise. And those Hallmark movies, they really meet that need for a lot of people. And Hallmark certainly recognizes that because they just start pumping out in probably October. They just start ripping off notepads of like, here's the newest one. It's Christmas in Tanzania, and they just keep fucking.
I think it's just done on a backlot, and they have like a week long, like a fortnight to get these films put out, and they're like, someone's just sitting there with a camcorder, like, all right, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it's like going in for like a flu shot clinic, except in this case, they just have the revolving door of Hallmark actors and actresses who are just coming in and like, all right, get on the set now. Here you are. Here's your Santa hat. Here's your red dress. Sequin dress, get on in here. And they actually, to be fair to Hallmark, they really have set the the bar for making all these Christmas movies in the style that they do. Because if you think about it, like, I don't know when Hallmark really started doing this. I feel like it was probably in like the early 2010s, maybe even earlier, maybe like in the mid 2000s, where they really started churning out like movie after movie for Christmas time. And for whatever reason, like, they just really met a need for these types of movies. And it's almost like the kind of the boom in the 90s of like the Harlequin romance of, at that time it was people reading, and now people say, fuck reading. I don't want to just see the hunky Fabio type on the cover of the book. I need to see him throughout the entire movie. And so Hallmark met that need, and they came in and they just started churning them out. And now you've got other people trying to copy that same idea. They got Lifetime pumping out their own versions. I think even like Oxygen, if you remember that channel.
Say ABC Family, didn't they used to, or like Fox Family or whatever the fuck it was back in the day, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, you got Candace Cameron Bure. She's got her own white supremacy channel that she's making all these Christmas movies on, as like the Great American Network or something like that.
You should have Newsmax Christmas.
It would have been funny if they accidentally had their acronym be like gay or something. Like, that would be like. Or like, even if they have like their holiday season like title, like the Great American Yuletide, they wouldn't use Yuletide either, because that's too pagan for Christians and Catholics. That's can't do that.
Well, they shouldn't even be celebrating Christmas to begin with.
It's true.
It's pagan holiday.
I mean, so all that to say, Hallmark has really set the bar for Christmas movies, and in terms of what I think you said prior to getting on this show, is basically porn for like middle-aged women. And we don't say that disparagingly, because there's certainly merit to doing that. And hopefully it's sparking the romance in, middle-aged couples' lives, right? But honestly, Hallmark movies are extremely timid. It's not like they're pushing a lot of sexual boundaries. In the majority of the Hallmark movies, the main characters barely touch, really. I think they basically like maybe skim lips occasionally. So it kind of meets the needs of like those people who did not graduate to 50 Shades of Grey. That was a step too far for these types of people. And not only that, I mean, I guess there is part of it too, is that it's just good-natured, wholesome. Good-natured, wholesome. It's an escape from reality where it's like, everything is nice here. There's no meanings. Or sometimes.
I say, when we review the film, I don't know if it's like this for the rest of these films, which it probably are. There's no, how, as you being the English lit major, like when it comes to a story, there's a beginning, rising action, climax, and falling action, and conclusion.
Yep.
There's none of that. It's just
right
things.
Yes, and it's
just like total, like the story. There's no story. It's just even plain, because like there's nothing. Like stuff happens, but nothing happens though that would be considered like rising action.
Yeah.
climax, falling action. It's all just on a straight, path.
Unfortunately for those looking for a release, there is literally no climax in this movie either. For the women, I mean. But
no, I think there is. But
but yeah, no, you're right. In this movie in particular that we're talking about, and I've seen other Hallmark movies, of course, but in this one in particular, yes, that was one thing I was going to bring up when we talked about the movie, is that this movie specifically lacks conflict whatsoever. Now, other Hallmark movies don't necessarily have that, because a lot of times you have a love triangle. So the conflict is, will she, won't she, will she get with that guy, or is this guy going to come and sweep her off, or is that gigantic business going to overtake her small town business?
This movie would be basically a perfect Gene Roddenberry written episode of Star Trek, because one of the things that originally, especially with like Next Gen, the first couple of seasons, when he was still involved in it, that was like infuriating to writers, was he said as like a ground rule, there can't be conflict. This is the 23rd century. Conflict doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, this would be like the perfect like Gene Roddenberry like Star Trek episode, because just like, wow, isn't everything just beautiful and wonderful? Isn't this everything's so perfect and great,
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we should say too, this movie that we're covering today for the Chaberting Gifts is Christmas in Rome,
2019.
Yep, from 2019. Yeah, so we didn't pick like an older Christmas movie to start off with. I wanted to do one of the most recent ones that she's done, because she actually has two just this year, 2023, that have just come out. But the newest one that was on the Hallmark app was actually a sequel, and I felt we would be just too lost to try to meander through the all of the character that have been spun from the original. So.
It wasn't the fact that it was 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
I mean, it can't be that long. It's got to be like the commercials that are sandwiched in there on the app.
No,
I can't imagine.
No, because when I went to the ads for the app for me, like it would skip 2. Like, so that was I think solid runtime for that. And also too, don't let Ryan fool you. The only reason, like, is Lacey Chabert a longtime crush? Yes, but Ryan also has been joking for years that she's the queen of Hallmark, and just that's where her career's been to, and just pumping shit out left and right. So he loves it too. Don't let him fool you. He's the one that introduced me to that. I didn't know what she's been up to for the last 10 years, but Ryan had a bookmark. Like, oh, I know what she's been doing.
That's right.
Been watching Hallmark.
All right, so let's take a break real quick before we get into this movie and talk about the beer that we have on the show today. And I must preface with the fact that I've been going easy on the beer as of late. I had been drinking like a beer a day most of the time, and because of my health issues, I have been cutting back on my beer. So that's not to say that I'm going to stop drinking beer for the show. It's just that I'm going to drink less beer for the show and savor more. That's my word for 2024. That's my New Year's resolution. Savor more. Not just blast through shit. Savor it.
You can save that for the New Year.
That's right. Yeah, that's when we do Ghost Keeper again. I'm going to say, I'm going to savor it this time.
Wow. New Year's. Look at that. I'm scrolling through the photos of Lacey Chabert on IMDb, and photo number 17 literally just has her ponytail in it from the dancing scene with Santa. It's mainly Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams. So I don't even know why that's there. It's a terrible choice, IMDb.
Wow. So with the beer on the show today, I picked it out this time. I went in and got it. And I got one of our local breweries. They put out a beer every year, and it's called Toys for Toga. Druthers does. Druthers Brewing Company, which is in Saratoga, and they've got a few more locations. They've got a Manse on the Water. So they put out this beer called Toys for Toga, which stands for, it's short. Toga is short for Saratoga. And it's meant to collect money for Toys for Tots for Saratoga. And So every year they do this. They donate a portion of the sales to the Toys for Tots program, and they always make a different style. Or at least they have for like the past 4 years that I've seen it. So I've had this,
which I did not even know that. I didn't know they changed the style up every year.
Yep. I've had one. I don't think I had last year's. I think I had a year before that, and it was like an American IPA at that time. This year, it's winter ale, which I thought was interesting. So I decided to grab it. Not only that, but I wanted to donate to Toys for Tots. So it was a win all around. So Toys for Toga is a winter ale brewed with cinnamon and what was the other adjunct that they had in there? Forget now. Doesn't say on the can, which is interesting, but it says on the Untapped, and it is ginger, cinnamon and ginger. So a nice like spicy winter warmer style beer for the season, which does make sense considering we're almost to winter. This one clocks in at 6.7%. It you're not a big fan of winter ale?
I'm not a big fan of winter beers, period. That's why you're going on your soapbox now, being like, I'm cutting back for the season because I'm dying. No, you're not. You're like in the same boat as me too. You just want your one old Fezziwig, and you're going to be done with that. Even though I don't like old Fezziwig.
I like winter beers. I do. I like the change of the season. I like the switch to maltier beers, porters, stouts. I'm a big fan of that. Winter warmers specifically, they do. I like them, but they do get old for me. I can't just sit down and like an Oktoberfest where I can just let's have a different winter warmer. Let's have a different winter warmer. No, because they do hit the same areas that old ales do. And not particularly my favorite flavors in terms of, like, I'm not a spicy person. I don't really like gingerbread that much.
Delicious.
I don't like pumpkin spice. I don't like pumpkin pies. I don't like any of that. Like, I don't like a lot of cinnamon flavors or a lot of like nutmeggy or allspice type flavors.
See, I do, but I think it's very, at least with like when it comes to like winter ales, they very much vary because some, like, I think the style itself doesn't really lend, like, it doesn't really have a winter ales themselves don't really have like anything to them that are really great. Like, they're heavier, sure, slightly breadier, but not like a brown ale or like a red ale. They're not that bready. They're not, there's no real hoppiness to it. Nothing really sweet about them. They're just kind of there as a style. And I think winter ales live and die by like what they're trying to do and like what adjuncts are kind of added to it to like give you that seasonal flavor. For me, like this one with the ginger and the nutmeg and cinnamon, delightful. I like that. When it leans more towards like the dried fruits, like your raisins and plums and dates, no thank you. No, disgusting. Like it's just, disgusting. And yes, I do like stouts and porters too, but I mean, porters are incredibly hard to find these, days because no one does them. And stouts are kind of being ruined constantly just because people too much dabble in the bourbon barrels a little too much when you don't need to. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I like this Toys for Toga quite a bit. I think it's pretty good. I like that it's, leans into that nutmeg, cinnamon, and ginger, gives it a nice like allspice and warm feeling to it. It's got like just enough like bready sweetness to it. It's pretty well balanced, pretty nice and heartwarming. There's no real dried fruit taste to it, which I enjoy. So I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I would agree. I like this one a lot. As a winter ale, I think it really hits the pleasant flavors. I don't think that the cinnamon or the ginger is like overpowering, but it does have that nice spicy flavor to it, and you do get a nice little malt kick to it as well. Balanced by a little bit of hoppiness to it. overall, I think it's like a really good culmination of the winter season. To me, this is probably one of like a perfect rendition of a winter ale. Not too spicy, not too overpowering and overbearing. Whereas at the same time, sometimes they can be a little light too. In this case, I think it's like the best of both worlds. I think they did a really good job with this winter ale. I'm surprised that it's kind of I don't know that I've ever seen a different winter ale from Druthers, so I'm kind of surprised that it's taken them this long to actually like put one out. And to be honest with you too, I got the Sam Adams pack this year that has, you know, Old Fezziwig and some of their other holiday beers, and I felt this year that their winter beer was not that good.
It's never been good.
I know it's never been my favorite, but
their winter ale has always been a terrible seasonal beer. I don't know why they keep trotting it out. Like they,
I don't know if I got a bad batch or what, but this year it just has like a very, I don't know, like bitter, off-putting taste to it. I don't know. Something about it is just not working for me. And I'm not a huge fan of the winter ale, but I normally don't mind it. But this year, for whatever reason, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. But this Toys for Toga from Druthers, and likely you won't be able to find this, to be honest with you.
Unless you live in upstate New York.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they're distributing that far right now. But it's very good beer. Really like this winter ale. Good cause. Overall, a solid win for this one. And since I'm only drinking one tonight, normally we go for two. I have another one to appreciate a different day. So, all right, so let's talk Christmas in Rome. Now, we should start by saying you were expecting that this film did not get filmed in Rome, and you were wrong. It did get filmed in Rome. I don't know if that's kind of a bad showing for the cinematographer, where it looks like it's not Rome, but it did get shot in Rome, and it was also like scenes were shot in Romania as well. And I assume a lot of the B-roll that's just like for American viewers, like, you don't know the fucking difference. Fucking European country, you don't know.
I mean, that's okay though, because a lot of films, no matter where they are, they're either filmed today in either New Zealand or in like Vancouver.
Yeah. I'm joking, kind of, but
or I say we're Toronto, so it's like, you know, like, oh, what's that? Like, that's the American. I mean, it's the same. Think about like spaghetti westerns. Like, oh, it's the American West. No, that's Spain.
Yeah.
You're looking at Spain over and over.
No, I'm joking, but just slightly. But the film was shot in majority in Rome. They did have Roman, architecture. We do see some of the sites, the Colosseum. They got like drone overhead shots of various areas of Rome.
You know what they did miss was the Lizzie McGuire movie was set in Italy, in Rome.
Oh yeah,
should have had Hilary Duff in this.
Yeah, throw Hilary Duff in there somewhere. Riding on another Vespa or something. Doesn't she ride on a Vespa?
Yes, she does.
It's been a while. It's been a really long time since I've seen that one. I think I've
sister dragged it. I'm pretty sure his sister probably dragged it to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the film is basically set in Rome. I think we only get one exterior shot where it's like, hey, look, it's like your typical New York City guy in a business office. It's covered in snow and
that's the funny part though, because you see Lacey Chabert originally in Rome, and you're like, oh, it's Christmas in Rome, and then New York City, and then you see the Trump Plaza Hotel.
Yeah, it's funny because like a lot of these movies, I haven't seen a lot of them where it's like set in a different country, right? Like I know they have another one too that's out very recently that Lacey Chabert's in. It's a Scottish Christmas.
American Scottish Christmas.
Yeah, so that one might be next on the docket where we go to Scotland instead. But I haven't seen many where they actually travel to a different place. Normally it's set in something like New York City, or it's a fucking remote rural area that they move to from the city.
Random suburbia with a cul-de-sac that they constantly just be like.
Yeah, normally it's something like that. So I haven't seen one where they normally go to, like, where they actually go to a different city. But normally it's set in like a city area, so it was kind of a change up for me that they're, immediately we're into Rome. But I did get the feeling early on, because a lot of these movies, these Hallmark movies, they always have that setup where it's like, stereotypical handsome business guy who's doing business and, like, they're kind of like a shady business guy too. It's kind of like they're ruthless. They really don't, care if they like hurt a business, because they're just like trying to get the bottom line. And so this movie kind of starts out with that, because you get the guy that's in, what the fuck is his name even? That's how memorable some of the people are in this movie. But it's just like random guy, right? But no, his name is Oliver, played by Sam Page, and
Oliver Martin.
Oliver, that's right, Oliver Martin. And you initially see him, and you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be that stereotypical douchebag asshole. He's gonna like pulling the fast one on these guys.
He was saying they work in like private equity. They're like,
yeah.
So he's our Mitt Romney.
Yeah. You're already like, this guy's not a good guy. And then they kind of turn on him. He like, takes a sip of his hot cocoa, and he's like, oh, I love the holidays. And you're like, well, that's because he's gonna fuck these guys over, right?
What board meeting has hot cocoa with a giant candy cane?
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, I wish somebody would come and bring me something like that.
And gingerbread cookies, like just lying at the tables, and they're like, "Don't tell us about what Christmas gift you're gonna get us." He's like, I can't wait to get you guys Christmas gifts.
I know. I love it. I love it because it is, again, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a change up for what you normally see with a Hallmark movie, where it's like a traditional business guy who's like, I fucking hate Christmas. I don't care about Christmas. It's fucking business time. And this guy is kind of like that. He's like, Christmas is the greatest time to work because then I can get stuff done. But at the same time, he's also sort of figure.
Do you know how many prostitutes I fucked in South Dakota going out there and buying up?
I know.
All the time.
He's not like that, though. And so you immediately get that. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of refreshing to be like, no, this guy just seems like maybe he works in like a shitty job market, but at the same time, he's kind of a nice guy. And it doesn't really ever change that throughout the movie. Like, it doesn't ever really come to the like consensus that like, this guy was an asshole, but Lacey Chabert was there to fix it.
No, well, he is an asshole by Hallmark standards. I can tell because his offense is that he's a workaholic and he works too hard for his bitchy boss, who's not even really bitchy, but like she's sitting there with a hard line, old school phone, like, what are you doing?
Well, not only that, but she just sits there the whole day. I think she doesn't go home.
Yeah, she doesn't leave.
Literally sitting there. Because he's in Italy, time difference, and she's always just sitting there at the desk.
Also, too, fucking mind blowing. Like this private equity firm owned by Mitt Romney's sidekicks. You haven't closed the deal yet? Well, it's in Italy. It's a little different. What do you mean different?
Yeah, they're not going to care, and they're not, you got to imagine too that this private equity firm is putting up tons of money to send him there to stay in like this, nice fancy hotel during Christmas time, and they're saying, we need you to close this deal like now, like no, not tomorrow, not going to a nice restaurant on the company dime. Whining and dining the local lady down there.
Yeah, like what? Again, like it's like the dumbest premise ever. Like, you mean, listen, those fucking Japs come over from Honda. We don't listen. We tell them this is fucking America. We're gonna do it our way. God damn it! Like like what do you mean? Like have any understanding of cultural differences? Like it's so like minuscule and like it's cut. But it's so like stupid because it's like that's like the crux of Lacey Chabert isn't just like she's gonna be taking Sam Page Oliver on a show him what Roma is, but she's also introducing the culture so he can understand, because this asshole who's almost a VP at the company is like, what do you mean closing a deal? I don't understand. What do you mean this guy wants to be wined and dined and he wants his family to be brought up and stuff, and I don't get it. A fucking deal's a deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not like this film takes place in 1950. Like, what do you mean? what do you mean they like to eat the meatballs? No, it's 2020. It's 20. The 2010s. Like, so, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It it operates in like an alternate universe where people are just like inherently
such a vacuum.
Yeah, they're just inherently like mean well most of the time. Like even Estelle, when she gets like upset, she's just kind of like, "Hey, please give me a call because I got to talk to you about something important. I hope you closing that deal because I don't want any competitor to swoop in." And like in reality, people would be like, "You better fucking if you don't talk to this guy today and close that deal, you're not coming back home."
You would think HR was standing next to her, like,
yeah, like pointing at his desk, being like, "We're cleaning it off right now. Tell him we're cleaning it off."
Well, no, but no, I mean, like, their HR is sitting there telling her what she can and can't say. Like, she in the real life, she's like, "Listen here, you fucking piece of shit. I'm missing my goddamn Christmas massage appointment and doing shots down at the bar because you haven't fucking closed this deal. So you need to close this fucking deal so I can go down and get shit-faced and do cocaine."
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, boss. We're working on it.
So I mean, basically, we've talked about the equity firm that he works at, and basically, he's coming down. Oliver's coming down because he's got to close this deal with Luigi.
You mean Franco Nero?
Yeah, he's got to close the deal with Luigi Franghetti, who is, for whatever reason,
how do they
a high-end ceramics company. So it's fucking weird as hell that it's just like, yeah, what do you guys do? Yeah, we make ceramics. Like, okay, like pottery and stuff like that. People would get a like high-end pottery barn type. No, we'll just make Christmas ornaments all year long.
No. They do other ceramics, but because it's Christmas time, the precious baubles that they're making, in like this fucking like. Come to my factory, then you go to the factory. It's like,
this one guy with a paintbrush just making swoops and swirls on a ceramic ornament.
Like, and it's funny too, because like that's not a factory, that's like a fucking artisan shop. Like, which again, that's the point, because he talks about like the craft and care, and that's also something too that's kind of annoying too, because Oliver is totally on the spectrum in this film. It's like, as Lacey Chabert is like, you need to kind of like show them that you love Rome and you feel the spirit and soul of it.
And the soul of it.
Of Rome. And then Franco Nero's like, it's not just about the money, but it's about the soul of Rome going into my bones. And then as he's getting a tour, Oliver's like, doesn't that, painstaking like time that you have these people painting this shit, doesn't that affect your margins? And like Franco Nero's like, but look what we make. And so these are artists, which again, like that's the point. But the fact that like again, like Oliver is just like, so like he's our friend on the spectrum here. It's like, dude, you have to be autistic to not like so like, do you pick up or grasp it? He's like, oh, so that like, so I mean, like these are really nice and stuff. But have you thought about expanding your factory? To like, got this place lined up in Shanghai. We can have those kids over there pumping these fuckers out in no time.
And the funny thing about it too is like later on, because Oliver has done such a good job showing the spirit of Rome. He does it. No, I know. But he comes up to Luigi and Luigi's trying to, he's trying to get Luigi to invest in the company and sell it to the company. And Luigi gives this whole speech. He's like, I really wanted to sell this to someone who understood the spirit of Rome and understands the artistry that goes into making ornaments. And you know what? We've decided, and it sounds like he's not going to sell, right?
No. And then Oliver has been such a autistic twat.
And then what does he do? He says, and I've picked your company. And at that point I fell out of my chair and I said, you picked a $1 billion company in New York City to be the spirit of Rome?
Yeah, you literally picked like Bain Capital.
Yeah. Go pick any guy off the street and say, hey, can you just help me? And it would be a better pick for the spirit of Rome.
I know, like that. Like it's so stupid, like because it's like It's like, if there's one thing, like type of company you wouldn't want to sell to if you're trying to keep it very small and artisanal and like the tradition kept. Selling to private equity isn't what's gonna fucking do that. In fact, as soon as like they get the print, they're like, cool, we're gonna shut down the fucking Rome shop because we don't do anything but make these worthless fucking things. We're gonna ship this shit straight out to China and Indonesia.
They're like, yeah, that one guy making the ornaments there, yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Throw him in the river. He's gone. No, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny too because it's almost like you're the equivalent of like I have a really small artisanal coffee shop, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to sell to Starbucks because they really get me. They really get the artisanal love and craft that goes into this.
Sitting there counting the money.
Yeah, you know, it would have been really funny to be like,
they just keep me.
It would have been really funny to see like.
I'd say I have this nice Wagyu burger stand where I make these fine artisanal burgers. I just sold to McDonald's. They really understand a good cut of burger.
Yeah. I said it would be funny if Oliver had called up Estelle and they're like, yeah, he's going to sell to us. We're going to keep this small, you know, even though we've got the holdings over it, right? And she's no, I don't know what you told him, but good job.
Yeah, we're liquidating. We're going to liquidate that shit.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But
put poor Franco Nero straight into the ground.
We haven't even really talked about Lacey Chabert, unfortunately. We got to get her in here. So Lacey plays Angela. Angela DeLuca. And she's an American expat who's living in Rome now. And she basically is a tour guide in Rome. And
it makes sense. It's Trump here, so
yeah. I mean,
she was one of the few that actually lived up to that promise. If Trump gets elected, I'm out of here, you know. And
you wouldn't think that a tour guide would be like, you know,
living the high life,
right? Exactly, living in like this big ass apartment building. But
she lives in like the Tenebrae apartment.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she you know, she's making do, but she gets fired right during the holiday season. She's like, what? It's during Christmas. You're going to fire me during Christmas? He's like, yeah, I've got to. Because
you're not following the script.
Well, to be honest with you, okay, so she says, like, no, throw out your tour guides like that are in the books because that's not real tourism. But, like, if somebody comes to your tour guide and you're like, I really want to see the Colosseum, and you as a tour guide are like, nope, we're not going there. You're not going back to that tour guide because, like, no matter what, you are the customer who's saying, like, this is what I want to see. This is my only chance to get to Rome. And I want to see the Colosseum. And you have Lacey Chabert telling you to your face, no, I'm going to show you some back streets here. You're not going to go out to that tour guide. You're going to be like, what the fuck? This is not what I had in mind when I came to Rome.
Which also, too, another fake thing. This film takes place in Italy, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the opening, when they go to the pastry shop and they're like, oh, he makes the most wonderful puff pastries. Try them, they're so delightful. Is there gluten in there? Oh, well. And, which is dumb, it's bread, so yes. But she's like, oh, we'll find out. Go try it, darling. And then she's being reprimanded. And then the boss is like, 200 euros for an allergy shot. Stop right there. That's an American rating list. There's no way in any European country in the EU that an allergy shot would cost 200 euros.
No, I'm pretty sure a paramedic came around the corner and just was like, here you go. Here's your EpiPen.
Look, here you go. Can't afford to have one in April, so you know what? Here's your free EpiPen. Yeah, no. Like I was like guffawing at what? 200? No.
Yeah, an American wrote that for sure. It doesn't cost $200 for an EpiPen there.
Not even close. Even if you're a tourist, it's like that's all you hear all the time from people who like vacation in Europe and stuff. And it's like, I'm not even living there. I broke my fucking knee. Like I tore my ACL over there. Had to get surgery. $2.
Yeah.
No, like
they paid me. Yeah, no, and as my wife would say, gluten is not an allergy. Actually, you don't get an EpiPen for gluten. You have a sensitivity or you have celiac disease, but it's not an allergy. And also, Italy is very, very accommodating for gluten, too. So they probably would have been like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we got a gluten-free panettone.
Oh, you can't eat gnocchi because you got gluten. So here's your sweet potato.
Yeah. Apparently they're very. I've never been there. Apparently they're very accommodating though. But one thing I talk about,
they would have to be, seeing as half their food would kill people.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't eat the rigatoni?
But one thing I wanted to talk about with Angela being a tour guide, which I thought was kind of prevalent throughout this movie, especially at the beginning when she's actually being a tour guide to Oliver, is the fact that this movie is kind of like, hey, pores, this is what Rome looks like, and this is what is in Rome for you people that will never be privileged enough to get here.
Well, that's also why this film is like, housewife porn. Like, I can't get after having those bastard children with my piece of shit husband.
I know.
I'll never afford a vacation.
It's
like
I want. It's like the ultimate fantasy. Is like, I really want to get to Rome, and this movie is like, yeah, we know you won't. We know you can't. It is though. It is, because everything about it is like, it's giving you that magical experience, like knowing, like, yeah, we know we're fulfilling like a wish fantasy, like bucket list item for you. Here it is. Look at these beautiful people, prettier than you, who are getting to experience a magical time. And not only that, but they're like, these pretty, beautiful people that are experiencing Rome, living in Rome, seem to have trouble in relationships. I don't know why. It's just like it is a fantasy, but it's also like they're kind of like a slap in the face to normal people.
No, because everyone's life around Lacey and Oliver are living the perfect life. Like Franco Nero and his wife are living a magical life as ceramics owners and having these wonderful parties. You must come to my villa. Come. And then Lacey Chabert's friend, happily married with a child that calls her Tia, but in the Italian version of it, which is like
furthers my point though, because all these people are living extremely magical lives, and then you're like, look at Lacey Chabert and Sam Page, and they're like, yeah, beautiful people in Rome, and it's like, yeah, their life must be so terrible, so awful. They've had such hard luck in love and relationships. Lacey Chabert got left at the altar.
Why was she the only one too that kind of had like a background?
Yeah, well, not only that, not only a background, but one that they come back to over and over again. Sam Page's character, she asked him like, "Oh, you don't have anybody to go back to for Christmas?" Like, yeah, my parents are doing okay. She's like, "No one else?" And Oliver's like, "No, no one else." Like that's the extent of his life.
Because you know who that was supposed to be? That was supposed to be Christian Bale, and
yeah, that's the extent of his life. He's literally got no one but work. And then Lacey Chabert's like, my parents died. And then she doesn't go into it.
And they met in Rome. Here's a picture of my parents, which the father looks a lot like you if your hair thinned out.
Yeah.
And they met here and they fell in love and I got left at the altar. I planned the perfect Christmas wedding and I got left at the altar.
So I moved all the way to Rome.
I love Seattle. Seattle is great.
And not only that, but yeah, they keep bringing this up over and over again. Like, my parents died. And then she even says, like, later on when they're at a fountain, and she's like, oh, what does throwing that coin over your shoulder do? And she's like, oh, well, it means like you want to come back to Rome. Like you'll get back to Rome. And then he throws 3, and she's like, oh no, my parents did that as well. And I thought they were gonna say like, yeah, and they died in a fiery car wreck. Horribly.
Charles Bronson showed up, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
No. Wait, which, by the way, too, what the fuck's up with that legend? You throw 1 coin into the fountain, right hand over left shoulder, you come back to Rome. 2, you get a romance, and then 3, you fall in love. What the fuck is coming back to? The first one does not equate to the other 2.
Yeah, I don't know. You come back to Rome. What was it? The second one is like you'll have like
you'll have a romance.
Yeah, you'll have a romance, and then you'll find your true love. And then the fourth one is fiery car wreck. Charred beyond belief. They have to
Anthrax.
They have to bring in the dental records too. Good thing he didn't put in the fourth coin there.
John Saxon's on. See?
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a fickle beast. The fountains in Rome.
Oh God!
You just never know.
They're really, so this basically starts on like December 19th.
Yeah, it's like 5 days, I think, before Christmas.
And so like the time we get to spend to them, like I can kind of like usually films do a really poor, so this kind of like whirlwind romances do a pretty piss poor job of like making it like kind of seem believable. I think here though, because Lacey Chabert and Oliver are supposed to be like literally 40 fucking years old, and so they're mature adults, and they treat everything like serious mature adults. Like the romance is like that becomes a thing is kind of believable, but at the same time though, like they're such bland, uninteresting, unassuming people with such banality. Like I don't even understand how they even get there, because, like, you know, especially because Oliver is such an insufferable douchebag when it comes to his work, you know, and especially with those first 2 days being, like, incredibly stubborn. Like, I don't know. It's just, like, I guess it's believable, but at the same time, it's, like, such a, not even a whirlwind. Like, it's like, oh, you guys, like, that's it. You did a lap around Rome and you fell in love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, they basically, so what ends up happening to start this off is, you know, Lacey Chabert gets fired as a tour guide. And so she apparently has always had this goal to start her own tour guide company. And she wants it to be like off the cuff, like very, very, they call it bespoke, actually, in this movie. That it's like bespoke for the user, for the person, the client, and she wants to be very, very like non like touristy tour guide. And so she meets up with this guy Oliver, and because she can help him find, she literally bumps into him, and because she can help him find something around the town, he's like, I should hire you to be my tour guide because you seem to know the sights around here. And ultimately, that ends up sounding like she is an escort. He's like, yeah, I would like to hire you to literally escort me around the sites of Rome. And then they end up telling other people is like, yeah, he's my client. Like it definitely sounds like an escort service there, which is fine if Lacey Chabert wants to go into the escort service. It's, you know, whatever. But the way that they keep mentioning it sounds like an escort service. But what did you think about the company that she wants to start? Kind of comes out of nowhere.
Waiting in Roma. I think it's kind of thrown in there just to be like the kind of a girl bossy, like, I don't need to be, constricted by working this job. I can start my own business and I can succeed. And then Oliver, like that, is like, here's your business plan. Boom. Like, he was at the hotel for 2 hours and he had like a 20-plate spread sent to her. And like, wow. I also love too, like, just how, like, they speak in grand vaguities, just like, oh, my business plan. It's like, how do you plan to tackle that? Business plan. What are you going to do if this happens? Business plan. Wow. She is such a smart entrepreneur.
I think that because
so it's so like what do you plan to do with this kind of tax code here? Business plan.
Yeah, it's hilarious because he writes up that, very detailed business plan, and she's literally said, like, I want to start my own tour guide business. I thought, like, I could do like show people sites that they don't see in the tour guides, and that's literally it. And then he writes up this very detailed business plan. It's like, what kind of plans did he include in there? Because she doesn't even seem to have any. Like, she has
not only that, when she's doing her pitch, she's like, I want to give him the perfect Rome Christmas. And they're like, you just want to do Christmas?
Yeah. The investors are like, so you're gonna just do Christmas,
and they're like, no. She's like, well, no.
No, I'll do seasonal.
But like because it's Christmas now, that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, it's
Like it's
funny.
just the funniest thing for me. I mean, like that's all hilarious, but the Christmas in this is so tacked on. It's such an afterthought. It's just there to be like a placeholder for background.
Yeah, it really could be any time of year, besides the decorations.
Because just like they throw, like, again, I understand it's Italy, it's in the Mediterranean, so at Christmas it's not going to be a snowy covered, get the Christmas goose, level of like Christmas. But I mean, it's okay. So you're in Italy, there's trees everywhere, and then and for her, she's just constantly like, "But it's Christmas. Christmas is coming. Christmas. Rome, a Christmas in Rome is special. Christmas.
Yeah, then buy somebody a special coffee.
And then Franco Nero every now and then popping up, be like, yes, Christmas. It's just like you put it there because it'll fit into your schedule. Because there's no real Christmas. Again, like, what's her motivation for loving Christmas? Is it Jesus? No. Is it the yuletide greetings and such and the festivities? No. It's just it's Christmas.
And it gives him a deadline too, right? Because he has to have the deadline of like, oh, you're gonna leave before Christmas? Like, you got to go back to the office? We can't do a long distance relationship like that. I can't have you leaving by Christmas. And it's funny too because she seems so understanding of like, oh, I understand. Okay,
well, that's the hilarious part of all that. Like because they're also such like understanding, like super attuned to human beings. Like I know we just met and it's been a couple of days, but I feel like I've known you my whole life. Yeah, I feel like I've known you my whole life too, and I want to be here with you forever. Me too. I feel the same way. We should do it. Okay. Hey, I just was on the phone with my boss and I got a promotion, so I got to go back tomorrow. Tomorrow? Well, I can't make a long distance relationship work. That seems like too much to me. And it's Christmas too. Yeah, I know it's Christmas. So I think we should go our separate ways. Okay, I want to be with you forever. That's fine. It is what it is. Let's shake hands and we'll go our separate ways.
Yeah.
But and this is like Casablanca, but like in the friendly, mature adult way. Like we'll always have Rome. Okay, bye. And they go,
that one time when we brushed hands together while we were walking down the street.
Then she goes home and finger bangs herself for 2 hours. But my candlelight, because like her friends, like her downstairs friends, like no one's eating your pussy in 2 years. Let's go. Like,
I actually thought this would have a more interesting dynamic because they're like her neighbor is decorating with her and she's kind of like talking about it.
Yeah,
and it almost seems like they're lesbians and it's like, oh, okay, they're lesbians and this isn't going to work out for this guy. He thinks he's going to get a date with Lacey Chabert. No, she's a lesbian, and they end up just being very good friends. Rome and New York friends. But no, it doesn't go that way. Of course, there has to be love involved.
She's seen love. She knows what it looks like. It's that twinkle in her eye.
That's right. No, it is funny because it is so forced. But like you said, the encounters, the interactions are so mature and so non-psychologically damaged by just like
they're incredibly banal. Like people don't like it's like people don't act like that for the most part. Like they're so like just adjusted and like tuned up to be like.
And that kind of leads us into that conversation about this movie has no conflict. It really doesn't. It just has literally, like you said, a level plane of, hey, they meet, they fall in love with each other, and like there is like maybe 10 minutes of conflict where Lacey Chabert gets mildly upset. And I mean mildly at dinner where she's like, I thought you were going to stay for Christmas. He's like, no, I got the VIP position. I've got to go back for meetings.
Not only that, they both get what they want at the end.
Yeah.
Even before the relationship becomes a thing at the end. She gets her investment. He gets his promotion and closes the deal. There's no like you think like it's like, oh, you didn't get the deal done. I'm sorry. Like see, it's all your fault. If you didn't meddle into this, Franco Nero would have been more, blah blah blah. No, everything's just smooth and perfect.
Right. I mean, even rom-coms, have that conflict at the middle portion where it's like he did something that I didn't like, and like or like a misunderstanding caused.
Yeah, like that would be like the big thing. Like here is like where there's no like, especially like no misunderstanding. Like, oh, I call you like with my downstairs neighbor who has nice bosoms too, like she had me decorating her gingerbread house.
Frosting around the door like a rim job. It's very suggestive.
But yeah, like there's nothing like that. It's all just like like
no. There's literally no conflict, and the biggest, I would say, like the most exciting, tense moment is when the investors and Lacey Chabert hop on 2 Vespas that have nary a scratch on them, literally,
and that's
out in the box.
Literally 8 minutes left in the film too.
Yeah,
like,
it's like the film is kind of like, it's so fucking busy right now. They got to get to St. Peter's Basilica. She'll never make it in time. It's Christmas Eve. The roads are covered with people, and then they show you them like raring around on their Vespas, and there's literally no one on the road. It's empty, and like I've never seen an Italian like road street like that where it's. And they even mention it in the movie. They don't show it, but they mention it. It's like Rome is fucking chaotic. Like no one signals, no one does anything, and then they show this Vespa ride where they have literally the road to themselves.
Not only that, too, the cars are wrong. They're driving on the left side.
I have no idea. That I don't know if they do that or not.
Yeah, the cars are like they're all left side seated.
Yeah, I don't know if Rome is different in that manner. Did they actually drive?
I'll check, but yeah, right. Oh, wow. Yeah, I thought they were like most of Europe.
Huh? I don't know. So they got out right at least.
You know what? I blame Lupin. Because in Lupin, they always were on like the left sides.
They messed it up. Yeah, it's funny because the film has no conflict, and you would think like watching a movie like that, you're just kind of like along for the ride, and I don't know. I wouldn't say that watching Christmas in Rome was like an unpleasant experience. It wasn't a terrible movie, but it's not like anything that you're going to come back to. You're like, I must watch Christmas in Rome again.
It's not Christmassy enough, and there's nothing really there. I mean, there's nothing offensive about it, but there's like nothing. It's just a very bland experience. It's like I thought 15 minutes in, I'm like, we're gonna be like 45 minutes in. Oh my god, we're only 15 minutes in. Like I feel like they got everything out of the way in.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so inoffensive that it's like bleached of any character whatsoever. It really doesn't have anything besides the fact that like there's that one scene at the beginning of the movie where Franco Nero's like, I hear a female voice. You're beautiful. Come on over here. I don't know you at all, but come on over to our dinner. Or we're gonna eat, and I'll pay for your meal.
As they're sitting there talking about the Franco again, that's the lovely deal, And he's like, what do you mean I got to wine and dine and blah, blah, blah. And then Franco Nero just pops up like, Zilda, come, sit. You are beautiful.
Yeah, he's like, you're beautiful. You must join us.
That place looked like any old Olive Garden. Is that where they had their meeting? The Rome Olive Garden?
How do you think Franco Nero's using this?
Is he literally there because like he walked on set like as they're like filming in Rome and he just randomly walked through and somebody's like was keen enough to be like some camera jockey who's like fresh out of college like, yo guys, that's Franco Nero.
They're like, yeah, grab him. We'll use him.
Like, what is he doing here?
I don't know. Maybe it's like the same thing like Bruce Campbell was in that recent Hallmark movie too. They just
I mean, I love that, but still, I mean, like, Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, this movie is so inoffensive. It's like church Christmas Eve showing before midnight mass.
Speaking of Bruce Campbell, Brian Bounds, who plays like the owner, the male owner, he looks just like fucking Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Holy crap! That IMDb photo of him, he looks like that could literally have been Bruce Campbell.
See,
probably no.
He's
under a suit.
He's like me. They're like, we'll never make it to the basilica for the choir. Like, what should we do? And he's like, yeah, grab some Christmas drinks. And then later on, they're like, oh, we've got to let's go. I want to hop on the Vespa too and get to the basilica. And you're like, we do? That's me. That's me. He's like, I guess if we have
I like to. They make it sound very tepid because they're like, not like, what are you going to drink? Like, I'm going to drink a fucking Maker's Mark old fashioned. And they're just like, Christmas drinks.
Yeah, they're
you guys want Christmas drinks? We got Christmas drinks.
Lacey Chabert does say you got to be careful. They're a little bit dangerous, but yeah, Christmas drinks. Yeah, the movie. It's not a bad movie, and in the right mindset, it is something that you can watch and just kind of like take your mind off of things and just watch it for what it is and kind of zone out. But at the end of the day, like, it is one of those movies, like you said, that is like, it's porn for women without any of the literal porn, any touching whatsoever. There's only one. I think there's only one kiss in this movie.
I think to kind of elaborate on that, because we didn't. I think it kind of fits that category because, again, like, there's no real conflict. Everyone, like, these people are middle-aged. They have, perfect jobs. They love what they do. They're just missing that person to fulfill them. And they find this person. They go on this adventure, but everything's very tame. There's no fighting. There's no negativity. Everybody's winning at the end. Everyone comes out a winner. Smelling like roses. And everything's, like, again, very mild. Like, again, like, at the end of this film, like, you'd be like, oh, at the end, so did they have sex? Did he, like, take it to Brown Town? Like, what happened?
Doesn't tell you. No real touching goes on here. And even in the like the promo photo or the poster photo for this movie, if you look at that, looks like they are barely even tolerating touching each other.
But yeah, no, like, you're right. They barely tolerate each other. They look like they're at junior prom or like junior high school, like, dances. Like, gotta stay arms length apart. Can't let you touch each other. That's inappropriate. Like, you don't even, like, it looks like they don't even, like, copulate at the end. Like, it's just like, whoa, did you guys have, did he finger blast you into a new world, Lacey? No. We had eggs, bacon, and mimosas without the alcohol. It was still
allowed to get. He wasn't even allowed to get gassy after that bacon.
Yeah. Pancetta. It's pancetta.
Yeah. The one thing I thought was funny too is at the end of the movie, like you said, they get everything they want. So Angela becomes a tour, like, she owns her business, tour guide, whatever. We don't really see that like come to fruition, but we know that it's coming. She's going to get invested in. Whether that actually works out or not, we don't see. But Oliver becomes a VP, and then all of a sudden he says, he doesn't want to move to New York. So what is he going to do? Well, Luigi just makes a position for him at the fucking Frangetti company and says, you're going to oversee our production here that you know nothing about in Rome. You're going to be the manager of the factory that we have here. That one guy who sometimes comes in on the weekdays and paints on his ornaments.
Shakes his head like, you're not doing it well enough.
It's just funny. Again, it just shows like the ridiculous alternate universe that this movie lives in. Or when the baker guy opens up his bakery. It's just like,
you guys want to make bread? Like, here's all the ingredients set aside. Like, and if you fuck it up, you're going to ruin my margins. And he says, yeah, but it's for love. Have you seen Lacey's ass in a dress. It's yay.
It's funny because they set it all out like it's a Food Network show, where it's like, yeah, I've got everything pre-measured. It's like, yeah, you made the bread, but did you? Like, you didn't do any of the measurements. They literally just gave you everything to just mix it together and make it into dough.
The guy kind of looks like Babish from Binging with Babish.
Yeah.
This bald head, like, you know, I was expecting, like, hey, guys, welcome to Binging with Babish here. I'm going to show you how to make pancetta. You know, you ever watch him?
I have. Yep, I've watched him a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah. You know where he's from?
No.
Rochester.
Oh.
Yeah, he did an episode on how to make a perfect garbage plate and finished it off with a Jenny Cream. So that's what he heard in my subscription.
The other thing that strikes me too is this movie had 3 writers.
Wow,
3 writers required to close the loose ends on it.
I do like that Franco Nero gets third billing, so that's good. Yeah. Good for his career.
That's right.
Why isn't this film like done by like Franco like Guadalupe or whatever the hell?
I don't know.
Guadalajara. Anyways.
All right, so we got to rate Christmas in Rome. And remember, we're giving it a Hallmark style rating. We're not giving it a rating on the scale of a normal movie. So on a scale of 0 to 10, Lacey Chabert cabooses and that red dress, what would you give Christmas in Rome?
I'd have to give it a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Well, you said you wanted an honest review, or I mean, that's what you. And if you say,
let's give it let's give it both. Let's give it a honest review and a Hallmark review.
Okay, well, because you said Lacey Chabert, and I'll give it the real review. But so Lacey Chabert in her Hallmark red dress and her little caboose, 10 out of 10. But if we were to go by like out of 10, ornate, hand woven, 4 years to make ornamental baubles, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. It's not that bad of a movie. It's pretty dull because there is no action in this film. There is no conflict. There is no real story outside of these 2 characters in Rome and finding love. It's pretty inoffensive. It's enjoyable enough. I really do like Franco Nero here. He's, does a great job of just being the old man who's like, love. You need to find love. Magic and love. Love. I think Lacey Chabert is, pretty charming in this. She does a great job. I think she's pretty fun, and she really soaks up in like any time and kind of hams it up when it comes to talking about, anything Rome, and her passion kind of shows. I think Sam Page is the weak part because he's kind of just a bland asshole, business asshole. The film's only an hour and 22 minutes. It's inoffensive. It lacks in the Christmas aspect. I mean, Christmas is there, and they mention how important Christmas is. But it's literally just there to be like a crutch to kind of like put it into a specific season to kind of market. But overall, I think the film's pretty inoffensive. It's not that bad. If it were to be like 20 minutes longer, this would probably be in totally insufferable film. But I think it hits the sweet spot in like a TV movie, and it's inoffensive. I'd say if you're looking for just a random film to put on during the holiday to watch, this is fine. I don't, there's nothing to love, but there's nothing really to hate because it's just incredibly pedantic and mediocre.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10. It is one of those movies where I don't think it's.
Wait. What about if it was Lacey Chabert and her red dress and
a Hallmark style rating? Yeah, like a 9 out of 10. It's a pretty good movie. It's got a pretty good
magical.
Yeah. I think it's it's a fine movie. It's definitely not one of the worst Hallmark movies that I've seen or Hallmark related type movies. So it definitely works. I think that the lack of conflict does make it sort of a bland movie. It doesn't really have, it's got two characters that are fairly bland in a bland movie without conflict. So there's really not that much to go off of. But if you're looking for something that's just like tune your mind off, kind of outside of reality, things are kind of just really nice and you don't have to worry about much. This is a movie like that you can get down to, especially if you've always wanted to see Rome and you've never been able to. Like, this movie kind of does that for you. It's just like literally like a tour guide for Rome. Now, in terms of like Christmassiness for Hallmark, this is like probably one of the lesser Christmassy movies that I've seen. Sure, it has lights and sure it has the festivities, but again, in Rome, it's like 55 degrees during Christmas time. So there's no snow in this movie, of course, to make it, realistic. So it's not like, some of the Hallmark movies are like, it's a Christmas miracle, it's snowing. Like, that would just make fairly sense.
They didn't even bother.
No, yeah. It just make very little sense in this movie to have it actually be snowing. So, yeah, it's, it's 55 degrees. There's not like a magical snow or anything like that. But it has its moments of holiday cheer. It does try to get in what it can. So it's fine in that regard. But I do think that it's really inoffensive. It's just something that you can throw on, and really it should not bother most people. And, most people will tune it out. But some people will be like, wow, that was a fun movie. I like that little bit of romance in there. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel, and you know what? That's the goal. That's the goal for these movies, just to feel good for a little bit. And I can, especially with this one, it's not like this movie is like hyper annoying or anything like that. So I can appreciate that. This is just a movie to make you feel good. And for the most part, it does its job, except for Lacey Chabert's parents dying in a fiery car crash. But they didn't explicitly say that, but I gleaned it from the depths of sadness that Lacey Chabert had in her eyes.
In fact, I think I heard her say "the horror."
Yeah. That was the implication of that. So
they would never say no. They would never say no because of the implication.
Yeah. So not a bad start to our Lacey Chabert, Chaberting Gifts Christmas Hallmark movie. I thought it was going to be worse, but we haven't plunged to the depths yet. So we'll see what we can come up with to, and we're also, you're kind of limited to what Hallmark puts on there, because they're stringent Nazis about what they put on their app. They're like, here you go, 3 days to watch it. Hopefully you got it in. If you didn't, too bad. We're going to put it in the Hallmark vaults like Disney did with their VHSs. It's going in the vault for 10 years and you're never going to see it again. That's what Hallmark does with their movies.
It's the last time you'll ever be able to buy The Little Mermaid ever again.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Before it goes back into the Disney vault.
It's funny because all these Hallmark movies are all about the anti-capitalism, and then all of a sudden Hallmark's like, buy the fucking app or you're not going to see this movie again. Buy it. Buy it on the $50. I think I saw on Amazon there was like a fucking $40 9-film DVD for Hallmark movies. I think it was something ridiculous like that. It was like on Black Friday.
What do you mean ridiculous? That's pretty cheap.
$40
for 9 movies
on a DVD?
That's pretty cheap.
I don't think so. I wouldn't pay that much for even a horror movie. I wouldn't pay that much for a DVD.
Well, you don't have to pay. You get it for free because you fucking have a fake website.
And the quality on those, if they're all on one disc, it's got to be bad. Just saying. No, I'm just... All right, so we got a couple of different movies that we are toying with for our Lacey Chabert Chaberting Gifts month.
It's gonna be literally just what's on the app,
pretty much. Yeah. Your guess is as good as ours as to what's going to be next. It depends on what Hallmark makes available. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like she has so many movies. It's just kind of like, let's go with whatever's available. So yeah, should be a fun time. It went better than expected, to be honest with you. And as I said, we have to do it because we promised. So So hopefully you enjoyed and are having a nice holiday season. I think we're going to be around for a few more weeks. Probably I think there's 4 more weeks of Christmas celebration. So, yeah, should be a fun time. And if you want to tune in for all of that and more, you should subscribe to us on any podcast app that you can think of. We're on Apple Podcasts, our home base at Anchor.fm, which is now Spotify. Anything that you listen to, I'm sure we're on. So subscribe to us, leave us a nice review. We are on Twitter and Facebook. You just search for us on there, Blood and Black Rum Podcast. We have an email address at bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com where you can write to us, let us know what you like, what you don't like, what movies you want us to consider, and we will definitely keep that in mind. And then you can also donate to us on our Patreon page or on our Spotify page. And that goes back towards beer. So thanks in advance. Thanks for listening to our episode on Christmas in Rome. I hope it transported you to a wonderful holiday place and experiencing Rome in visceral detail. And we'll see you back next time for another Lacey Chabert Hallmark Christmas movie. So until then,
take care.